Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Black Logic. Of course, Donald Trump, the new president of these United States of America, is the 47th president. They have him live here as he is signing executive orders over and over again. Supposedly, he's going to be signing over 100 executive orders, especially here in his first 100 days. I think that he may even surpass Joe Biden in signing executive orders in the first 10 to 20 days of his candidacy. And Donald Trump's second inauguration speech as the 47th president marked a very historic return to the White House because in his address, he reiterated his commitment to America First policies and focused on a series of promises aimed at reinforcing national sovereignty and economic dependence for the United States of America. And Trump underscored a commitment to reinvigorate the American industry, securing the borders and reinvest in trade agreements to favor the American interest. Now, during his speech, Trump conveyed a very strong stance on immigration, emphasizing the potential and the protection of American jobs and reducing foreign dependency. He also highlighted the need for a unified national identity because people were really talking about, he had a black preacher that was praying at his inauguration. It was talking about black and white and being unified. So I don't know if that was something that they wanted on the docket to unify the country no matter what color you are. Okay, we'll see how that turns out. But basically rattling the public around a vision of restored greatness and prosperity. Okay, he pointed to a future where American policies prioritize the welfare of its citizens over international consideration. And I've been stating this since I've ever been on YouTube, and of course privately as well, that it seems that America favors foreign aid and foreign workers and immigrants over their own citizens, right? But mostly the address also reflected themes from his previous campaign and his first term. He criticized past administrations for what he perceived as their failures to adequately protect American interests. Trump called for a renewed sense of patriotism and national pride, aiming to rally the country around his administration and well as his policies. Let's listen in.
What is this? Withdrawing from the World Health Organization, sir?
Ooh, that's a big one. So we paid $500 million to World Health when I was here, and I terminated it. China with 1.4 billion people. China with 1.4 billion people. We have 350. We have, nobody knows what we have because so many people came in illegally, but let's say we have 325. They had 1.4 billion. They were paying 39 million. We were paying 500 million. It seemed a little unfair to me.
Yeah, Trump is not playing around. I just want to let you guys know that. And I've been hearing people on social media, on Clubhouse, all social media programs seem as though they're more so going against the man than trying to see what he's doing versus policy-wise for the country. Because again, I'm no friend or foe or either one of the two political parties because it's important. A lot of the legislation that he's going to be passing, let me tell you, this is going to be huge. A lot of the legislation he's going to pass is going to be absolutely huge. And I don't think people are really taking their time to see what may benefit them, because shortly after taking office, President Trump signed a series of executive orders aimed at overhauling immigration policies and key actions, including declaring a national emergency, okay, at the U.S.-Mexican border. He's already signed that executive order, deploying troops to support immigration enforcement and initiating plans to end birthright citizenship. I agree. Now, a lot of people think that these measures are intended to strengthen border security and address illegal immigration, which will fulfill central promises of his campaign. Don't forget, no one's really trying to give him credit for TikTok coming back online within 24 hours. And don't forget, they said, well, if they try to ban TikTok, I'm going to extend it. And even before he's in office, this happened yesterday on Sunday, TikTok was back online. TikTok was back online. And in line with his commitment to energy dependency, President Trump declared a national energy emergency. He signed orders to increase domestic oil and gas production because we've seen what inflation have done to the gas. So he signed a national emergency. So that's going to decrease gas. Again, this can't go on for, let's say, 6 months to a year, but it's going to give us relief right now. Because right now he's coming into a nation, he's coming into the Oval Office, he's coming into the presidency where Joe Biden didn't do a good job. He did a very bad job. He did a very poor job. And the country, is in shambles. So he's doing what he believes is the right thing to do. And I hope, I pray, I wish that what he's doing, I hope that it does fix the country for all of us. But he's going to ease regulation on energy infrastructure and withdraw from international climate agreements such as the Paris Climate Accord. And a lot of critics believe that these steps aims to boost the economy and reduce energy costs, positioning the U.S. as a leader in energy production. Now, among the executive orders, President Trump ordered to dismantle diversity, equity, and inclusion. Good. It only helped people who was from East Asia, in my opinion. He's eradicating DEI totally within the federal government. Now, this move reflects his administration's stance on promoting a merit-based system. What is that? What's a merit-based system? It's on your skills, talents, knowledge, okay? That's all it really is. How smart you are, how skilled you are, what licensing you have. It's on a merit-based system. Asserting that such programs like DEI are divisive and counterproductive. The decision has sparked debate on the role of DEI in federal policies. Also, fulfilling a campaign promise, President Trump signed an executive order pardoning individuals convicted in connection with the January 6th Capitol incident. See how they changed their language? First, it was a riot. Then it was an insurrection. And I've been stating that it's been all three. It's been a protest. Some people was protesting. I would like to believe the majority of people were protesting. There was a part of them that were rioting and destroying government property. And there was them who was trying to really stop the peaceful transfer of power, those insurrectionists. But not all of them was insurrectionists. I've been saying that for a very long time. But he describes these individuals as patriots. I'll call the people who were protesting patriots because they were exercising their constitutional right, but whether they believe that it was enough votes for Donald Trump to get in office or not, if you're doing what the Constitution has given you freedom to do, then yeah, you're a patriot, as long as you're not trying to stop the peaceful transfer of power. But he describes the individuals as patriots who were unjustly persecuted and emphasized the need for national healing and unity. And a lot of controversy has elected, varied reactions across the political spectrum. He also signed another executive order for military personnel who did not take the COVID-19 vaccine. Not only is he going to restore them to their rank, and if they want to go back to the military, but pay them all back pay of what they missed because they were put out. These people about to get the bag as they should. They should have never been put out the military. There's a lot of things that the military can do. But again, they were following orders of President Joe Biden, who was the commander-in-chief at that time. Yeah, but Donald Trump has been very, 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 very busy. He's been very busy. He also is going to sign an executive order that will rename the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America. Yeah. President Trump's inauguration and immediate policy changes have prompted reactions worldwide. Notably, he announced intentions to reclaim the Panama Canal. And a lot of these actions with the Gulf of Mexico now may be the Gulf of America. The Panamanian or Panama Canal may be the American Canal. These actions, they may have significant geopolitical implications. International leaders are closely monitoring these developments and assessing their impact on global relations. And some people, right, you just got blood in your eyes. What are they going to do about it? What are you going to do? Well, we don't want to go to war with the world. We will lose if we go to war with the world. But again, I don't think he's doing there. Again, a lot of these things are very ambitious. A lot of these things are very bold. He's reclaiming the power and property that America has bought, paid, maintenance, built, etc. He's doing those things as we should. And a lot of people are crying right now. A lot of people are crying right now. They're scared of what Donald Trump is doing. Oh, yeah. He's focusing on mostly on illegal immigration right now, border security, energy production. There's a lot going on for President Trump. And the one thing that kind of gets me going to a certain degree is, where does this old man get all this energy from? Where does Trump get all of this energy from? He's like 70, almost 80 years of age, and he has more energy than people I know who are 20, 30, and 40s. He has some tremendous energy. Oh, also, guys, among Trump's most contentious first day's action was issuing pardons to Dr. Anthony Fauci and General Mark Milley, key figures in his administration. See, I was telling Dr. Fauci to get his pardon from good old Joe, but Trump's decision to pardon Fauci, who faced intense criticism from Trump's own base during the COVID-19 pandemic, sent shockwaves through the political landscape because the White House labeled it as an act of reconciliation, and that Trump supporters bashed the move as betrayal. Yeah, they've been using these terms like the Steve Bannon, the hardcore right nationalists, red-blooded Americans. They're the MAGA 1.0 crowd. And then they got the new tech, Elon, Jeff Bezos, Mark Zuckerberg type of guys. That's the MAGA 2.0 crowd. You got the MAGA 1.0 and you got the MAGA 2.0. I don't know. And MAGA is an abbreviation for Make America Great Again, but I guess these two different groups have very different ideologies of how to make America great. The MAGA 1.0 crowd wants to make America great with Americans. So I agree to that. And the MAGA 2.0 crowd, which Elon came out and said, yeah, I have plenty of H-1B visas at my job at Tesla. Yeah, I think half of your workforce is Indian. And a lot of people like Steve Bannon came out and said, well, go back to South Africa. That was just hilarious for me, for Steve Bannon to tell Elon Musk, a white South African, to go back to Africa. Shouldn't it be like go back to Denmark or something like that? Go back to Greenland. Oh, we may own Greenland here pretty soon. I don't know. I'm just kidding. Or in Antarctica. But nonetheless, he told him to go back to South Africa. And he also stated, Steve Bannon also stated, I'm paraphrasing, and this is allegedly because I want to make sure, that white South Africans are some of the most racist people in the country. That was very surprising to hear that from Steve Bannon, but again, he's putting all his cards on the table. And don't forget about General Mark Milley. Milley, the former chairman of the Joint Chief of Staff, was also pardoned despite being a focal point of controversy during the Trump presidency. Milley faced accusations from Trump supporters for undermining the administration authority in the wake of the January 6th Capitol incidents. Trump's pardon of Milley aimed to close a divisive chapter in military-civil relations, but drew sharp criticism from both sides of the aisle. And again, a lot of critics are arguing these pardons conflict with Trump's message of accountability, while supporters believe they signify a very strong effort to turn the page on old conflicts. Do I believe that Anthony Fauci should have gotten a pardon? Now, outwardly speaking, because a lot of these mandates were by the so-called evidence and research that was coming from Dr. Anthony Fauci, from his administration, his organization, his group of people who were essentially federally funded. Now, we don't know the discussions that him and Trump had Was Anthony Fauci marching out on the orders of President Trump? And so that is why Trump gave him a pardon. Did Anthony Fauci ever, snitch or turn his back on Trump? Probably not. This is why Trump gave him a pardon. Yeah, Trump is very, very busy right now. Again, we're talking about like over 100 executive orders that he is planning to sign. And I don't know if that's all in the first 24 hours. I don't know if that's all in 24 hours. But again, a lot of people are very excited, as you should. Trump pardons 1,500 January 6th rioters. Listen to this. This is going on. I think this is still live.
That this could set a dangerous precedent and that it could embolden Donald Trump and the people who come after him. But look, Pam Bondi, who is Donald Trump's choice to be attorney general, she said during that Senate confirmation hearing that politics wouldn't play a role in prosecution, but at the same time, she wouldn't rule out investigations of people who were Donald Trump's political enemies. So look, this is clearly something that Biden wanted to do to cap off his decades-long career in politics, but it also does play a role in his legacy. And more broadly speaking, President Biden just not having that legacy that he wanted to leave behind. He said he was going to be a bridge to the next Democratic leadership, but instead, earlier today, we saw him hand over the keys of power to someone who he has repeatedly called a threat to democracy, someone who would have an enemies list to go after.
Now, I necessarily don't know what threat to democracy they're talking about. Donald Trump was never a threat to democracy. People, and again, most of these people are Democrats, they're liberals, right? And again, for those of you who are new to Black Logic, I'm not a Democrat, I'm not a liberal, I'm not a Republican, but I have a conservative mindset. I'm not an independent. I just want to tell the truth because I think a lot of times when you pick a side, you become very biased, like your side or what your belief, ideology, because of those people, what they state, you don't coincide and you don't align yourself with. But when you just look at the policies, I'm looking at the policies. Donald Trump said there's only two sexes. So what are your employers going to do to you now that the president of the United States said there's only two genders, male and female? But they have a mandate, they have a policy to state that you will call people by their pronouns. Yeah. Oh, well, I'm non-binary. You a man. Well, I'm a woman. You a man. So I wonder what is going to be, the actions that jobs are going to take when you call someone their actual sex. Because again, the whole identify thing seems as though it's going away. I believe he signed, or he is signing, and correct me if I'm wrong, an executive order to state that there's only two sexes in America, male and female. All that who, they, them, their, and how, that's going out the window. So again, if you're fired because someone said, well, I'm they, or I'm this, or I'm that, well, I identify as a man, like, no, you're a woman. And they report that to HR. If you get fired, do you have a lawsuit on your hand? Better yet, do you have a federal lawsuit on your hand? Again, America is about to shape back to the way it was. And a lot of people like that. What I mean was, America was very, very prosperous. Okay, there came a time where there was no such thing as cancel culture. Just because a certain demographic or a certain people disagree with what you said, that now you can get fired from your job, your social media account can be taken away from you, your livelihood can be gone, simply because somebody does not like what you say. I'm gonna report you, and then you get fired, or they block your account, or whatever the case may be. Again, we had these constitutional rights that were infringed on during the Biden administration. Yeah, they were infringed on during the Biden administration. And a lot of people don't like to talk about that. And we have this article right here, okay? And I'll blow this up for you guys. Give me 1 second here. Give me 1 second. Trying to put this back up. I don't know what's going on. Give me 1 second. All right. Yeah, but this is stating, He has already signed his plans to sign an executive order extending the deadline of TikTok. We already know about TikTok. It states that the order will also confirm that there will be no liability for any company that helped TikTok from going dark before his order. Trump also teased an executive order to impose tariffs on imports from countries like Canada, China, and Mexico. We've stated that here on this channel a while back, as well as orders losing regulations that the Biden administration imposed on fossil fuel companies to mitigate the risk of climate change. I'm rolling back those regulations. And again, if we can do these things very safely, okay? If we can do these things very safe where we're not going to contaminate the environment and destroy the soil and those chemicals or whatever those industrial materials are, it doesn't contaminate the water, the fresh water supply, then we're good. But they were stating that there was over-regulation, whereas there was preventing America from drilling in certain places on our coastline where they know pockets of oils resist. It will create jobs. It will lower energy prices. It will lower gas prices. So I believe that this is a good thing. It says that Trump's orders will likely target Biden-era limitation on offshore drilling and policies meant to encourage the use of electric vehicles, both of which Trump signaled out in his inaugural address. Okay, we talked about the Gulf of Mexico also being renamed the Gulf of America. It states that he will also revert the name of Mount Denali, the highest mountain in North America, back to Mount McKinley. It says that the peak was called Mount McKinley until President Barack Obama changed it in 2015 to Denali, the traditional Alaskan name in all federal documents. Trump will make these changes to honor American greatness, according to a preview of the coming executive orders that the president press secretary posted on. Also creating DOGE, one of the first executive orders he plans or did sign, will create the Department of Government Efficiency. DOGE will oversee a substantial reduction in the size and scope of the government and operate within the U.S. government. Trump announced the creation of DOGE shortly after winning the 2024 election. It will be led by, of course, Tesla and SpaceX CEO Elon Musk and Trump's one-time GOP rival Vivek Ramaswamy. DOGE will work with the Office of Management and Budget and all agencies to strengthen the federal workforce, federal spending, and federal regulatory burdens. But the president faces an uphill battle creating the new department, as evidenced by a lawsuit filed minutes ago after he was inaugurated, alleging that DOGE violates federal transparency rules. How? How does it violate federal transparency rules? Their major goal is to cut the national debt, America's national debt, from 36 trillion in 2 years, cut it by 2 trillion. Their goal is 2 trillion, but they're stating now more realistically is probably $1 trillion that they will cut in 2 years. Regardless of what that is, we've been spending a lot of money in this country with your tax dollars, my tax dollars, with people who were illegally in the country, as well as people who are legal immigrants in the country as well, because we have a lot of immigration programs that other people from other countries has been using as socialist programs. Yeah, we're not just talking about DACA. That's just one of the many immigration legislations that they can use to support themselves. Did you know that illegal immigrants as well as legal immigrants as well can use SNAP? They can use they can use Social Security. Did you know that they can actually access Social Security? I broke down all these different federal subsidies that immigrants, no matter if you're legal or illegal, can receive by applying for them. Did you know they can also get school money? They get low interest loans. And a lot of Democrats were coming out and stating that, immigrants, they pay taxes. Oh, okay, as they should if they're legally in the country and they're working on H-1B visa or work visa or residence call or green card, whatever have you. But then they started stating that illegal immigrants were paying taxes. And I'm like, how? How are you illegally in the country working? One, again, those employers who employed them. Then two, how are they paying taxes? Then we were talking about making I don't know if you call because what's the guy's name? He was running with Kamala Harris. Tim Walz. He was allowing illegal immigrants to get driver's license. Now, I don't know if you guys are aware of this, but in pockets of America, there has been an influx of people inside of our country, a lot of them who were illegally in the country. And they have slowly been changing the driving habits of America. Now, don't get me wrong. Not all Americans were changing lanes, putting on their signal lights. A lot of Americans wasn't doing that. I'm sorry. Let me take that back. A lot of Americans was doing it. Not every American was doing it, but I would like to believe majority of Americans were doing that. They were actually using their signal light. But we've had an increase in accidents in America. At the same time, we had an influx of illegal immigrants. I'm not talking about the first caravan of 10,000 or 20,000, but ever since like 6 years ago, we started having mass immigration from a legal and illegal standpoint. And the driving culture in America has changed drastically. Look in you guys' areas and regions and states, how there's been an uptick in insurance costs because of the amount of accidents. And where I live at, it seems as though, and I'm not pointing a finger. I'm not pointing a finger, but it seems to me that a lot of people who look like they're not from the country are driving in the roadways, not using their signal lights. And I'm looking at the police like, okay, you want to chase down a speeder. In my opinion, the person who's more dangerous is the person who is not indicating when they're changing lanes or making a turn. If you're just speeding up and down the roadway, okay, cool. To me, I think if you're not signaling your light, that's more dangerous than speeding. And again, that's just probably the way I look at it. But Donald Trump has been very busy on a lot of the executive orders. I want you guys to look at this. First week executive orders by president. And you see the color coded there. They said President Joe Biden, January 20th, his inauguration day. He only signed 9. From 21st to 27th, okay, I think that's roughly what, 8 days, 7 days, 8 days. He signed 15 more. And they went back to Donald Trump in 2017. He only signed 1 executive order on his first day and then signed 4 within the week. So he signed basically the same amount as Obama. Bill Clinton did really nothing. Neither did George Bush, neither did Jimmy Carter. And good old George W. Bush, he didn't sign none, and neither did Ronald Reagan. But I would like to see the number that Donald Trump has signed. It goes on to say here that Biden signed 24 orders, okay, up the number. Former President Barack Obama signed 5 in his first week, and previous president signed fewer orders upon taking office. Yeah, this is about to change. This is about to change. Donald Trump is not joking around, and he's already making big changes. He's already making big changes. And here's the thing about whether you like Donald Trump as a person or not. That shouldn't matter. Okay, the reason, how can I say this? America, we have this sort of figment of what we think a president should look like. We have this idea of what a president should sound like, should talk like. And granted, no other president in history has ever sounded like Donald Trump. And so some people are like, oh, he's not presidential. Okay, I can understand how a lot of Americans may like, well, how does he fare with other world leaders? Again, I'm looking at the policies. I'm looking at what he said he was going to do. Does that benefit the country? Does that benefit me? Because again, the laws that affect you the most are the state laws, your local laws. That really hits home very quickly. But federal laws, those policies will begin to trickle down to you and change your life in certain areas of your state or in your personal life altogether, where it could just be the tax code being changed. So again, there's a lot of things going on right now. Of course, I think they're going to have a little party tonight to celebrate President Trump's, and they got Nelly. And did you know that people were going against Nelly People was going against Nelly because he's performing at Donald Trump's inaugural ball. Why? Nelly is a foundational Black American. He is an American. I believe they asked Soulja Boy to perform at the inaugural ball. And again, I hate to say this, okay, because you guys know where I'm saying I love my people, but I was hearing that there was a lot of Black people saying against this. What? Do you guys understand this is a one in a lifetime chance? And this is the first time that any president, especially for Nelly, probably even Soulja Boy, asked him to perform. And this is the biggest stage in the world. Next to the Super Bowl, okay, the Super Bowl comes second. We're talking about every country is going to be watching. Now, every country watches the Super Bowl, but Black people were coming out against Nelly and Soulja Boy because, again, if Donald Trump asked me to perform, I'm not a comedian, but I come up with some jokes. Yeah, this is about unifying America. Yes, we have racist people who are Republicans. We have racist people who are Democrats. We have racist people who are independents. We have racist people who don't affiliate with any political party. This is America. But again, Black Americans, we love America. Why are we still here? Because this is our country. We've been here since 1526. We've been here before the inception of America. Okay? We've been here before 1774. So when we look at these things, we should be a part of the inaugural ball of the 47th president of these United States of America. Donald Trump said this is about unifying America. I don't think nobody thought, again, I don't know if you guys were listening, I was. He had also, I think he had a Jewish priest, he had a Catholic priest, he had a Black Baptist priest. They all said and did some prayers. He had everybody. He had everybody. He didn't have to do that. He selected a VP who has a dark brown Indian wife. And again, I'm not saying that none of these people are not racist. Don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. But what I'm saying is, I think you guys got it. You guys have a great and wonderful evening. Thank you guys for joining me here this evening. If you're new to Black Logic, please hit the subscribe button. Welcome to the 47th elect President Donald Trump. Over 100 executive orders. I want to see how the country turns out to be, and I'm hoping for the good. I'm not hoping for the bad, because if Donald Trump fails, we all fail as a country. You see what I'm saying? Oh, it was because you guys went out and voted for Trump, and you guys, listen, I don't care if Kamala Harris won. And I'm happy that Donald Trump won. But if Kamala Harris won, I will be having the same broadcast with the same fury and the same support stating, I hope that the policies that are put forth does great for America. And you know what? I take that back. Let me stop joking. Because the policies that Kamala Harris was talking about seems as though they was going to destroy America more so than what they already done. Opening up the border, causing violence within inner cities because of influx of illegal people and illegal gangs and the rise of fentanyl. There were so many things that the Democratic Party has done to this country, and no one is trying to point it out. They're like, oh, they push this agenda, they put the woke agenda. Damn all of the woke agenda. I don't care. The main thing that really hurt America is a couple of legislations that we let slide. The increase in climate, which affected the energy dependency, right? Stopping oil tankers from drilling coastal. The huge, 11 million illegal immigrants in America. See, what people don't understand is when you have 11 illegal million immigrants inside the country, they're taking jobs of Americans. And when I say take, they are being allowed by those employers, but nonetheless, they're taking jobs that your kids or your college students or even you without degrees, skills, or licenses would have had, and they would have paid you minimum wage. Why would I pay Susan minimum wage at $12 to $15 when I have Hector Okay, when I have Son Sue here and I can pay them $5, I can hire 3 of them for the price of you. So again, he's getting off foreign dependency of labor, and he's going to strengthen and try to hire Americans. Hopefully, the talk about the H-1B visa change some of the educational programs that we have to start teaching our youth, American youth, how we can compete in this technological market. Because again, the whole stereotypes of these people are smarter than these people more tech savvy than these people is a farce. America, we have everything we need right here. Yes, a lot of our demographics have declining birth rates. Should we recruit the top 1%, because the Democrats wasn't doing it. It was recruiting 20 to 30%. Okay, and a lot of these people want to come over here getting all the engineering and tech jobs and space jobs. They were mopping floors. They were working in massage parlors, and the massage parlors, you know what I'm talking about. They were working at home assistant living. They were getting a lot of those jobs, helping the elderly. But again, Americans are the ones who are homeless. We had a high rate of homelessness in America when we had this influx of people taking these low-skilled jobs that Americans used to. Remember, people used to talk about, oh, my dad, my mom used to work 2 jobs. You don't really hear that no more. If anything, they're part-time jobs. So again, a lot of people may not like this, and I hope that you're more so for the policies than you are for the man. Because see, men and women will fail you, but when you put it in black and white, those last for a very long time. And again, I'm glad that there's only 2 genders now. I'm glad that there's only 2 genders. It states here on this sheet here, it says Trump executive orders. Let me see what he's talking about here. It says two executive orders on economy, immigration, and other programs. It was talking about how he signed an executive order that is only 2 genders. I was trying to find that for you guys. He signed the ones on energy. He signed a letter to be delivered to the United Nations indicating the United States withdrawal from the Paris Climate Treaty. Okay. He also signed an executive order to restore freedom of speech to federal employees and federal censorship. Oh, that's huge. That's huge because a lot of people was muffled. Okay, a lot of people was muffled behind this. A lot of people was muffled. He said, no, you can speak your mind. And don't forget, they try to fire him. You can sue the federal government. His final executive order was signed to end what he called the weaponization, okay, of the government against the political adversaries of previous administrations. Because that is what they did to Donald Trump. They weaponized politics to imprison him. They weaponized politics to put him in jail. Now, granted, when we look at the rule of law in America, I do believe that no one is above the law, even the president. No one should be above the law. I gave a very stark example of that. It also going to state that among his other executive actions, the newly sworn in president was expected to order a national energy emergency and issue a presidential memorandum on inflation as part of his executive action on his first day in office. Now, at this point in time, he's about to go party. I was really trying to find that executive order that he signed about gender. Let me just see if I can find that very quickly, and we'll move on. Here we go. It says income officials also outlined a series of first-day executive orders that they describe as efforts to restore sanity, including executive orders declaring the U.S. government will only recognize persons' gender assigned at birth, prohibiting federal funds from being used in programs that acknowledge people who identify as transgender. He's taking away federal funding for anyone who identifies as transgender. Among the most tangible changes Americans may see is a change to passports, rescinding a rule under Biden that allowed Americans to mark X as their gender mark on the U.S. passport applications. Wow. Trump also planned to rescind rules set by Biden within the federal money from schools, including colleges, unless they follow certain rules to protect trans students from harassment. See that? He does have a heart. Did you guys see what he just did? Now, you're going to be male or female on your passport. You're going to be male or female according to the federal government, but he is not going to tolerate discrimination. Can I show that to you really quickly? Trump also planned to rescind rules set by Biden that withheld federal money from schools, including college, unless they follow certain rules to protect transgender students from harassment. That's equality. That's equality. Now you have to pick a sex. Wow, that's intriguing. No more binary. No more non-binary. No more sexual, patial, with all these. When it comes to your gender and what you identify as, you're male or female. Now, granted, there's going to be a lot of liberals that is going to be totally against this. They're going to still like, no, I'm not that. It's going to be all sorts of TikTok videos, Instagram videos, YouTube video shorts about people still. Yeah. This was the time that this was supposed to happen. Again, I thank you all for joining me here. Hit the subscribe button. You're new to Black Logic. Have a great and wonderful evening. And welcome to President Donald Trump's second term. This is Black Logic.